and the search for meaningful employment.
In the conversation, months, how have we fared?
We are looking at Nigeria since independence, and I don't want to limit
to 16.
Yes, because we have to look at where we are coming from, and look at where we are today. So the discussion is basically about Nigeria as a nation since independence. How have we fared? I would say we are not where we ought to be, given the size of our population. We have the potential to do much better than we are doing. But we also must admit that in terms of the size of our economy, in the 60s and the 70s, we have grown much bigger. And our population has also grown. So what we need to do now is to focus on expanding our economy by concentrating more on the services subsector of the economy as well as the manufacturing. That is where we should focus on, because manufacturing will deliver a lot of job opportunities for people. Services will also do that. And in terms of the contribution to the economy, when you look at agriculture and the services sector, they are the kings in terms of the contribution to the size of our GDP. You can see what the MTNs of this world are doing. That sector is contributing tremendously to the GDP of our country. So when you look at what we've achieved overall, we have struggled over the years to come up with economic policies that have not really worked. You look at the structural adjustment program, people will readily blame it for where we are today, because the devaluation of our currency actually was a product of the structural adjustment program. And we've moved from there to where we are today. I would say that we've not failed totally. I would not say that we have failed, but we can do much better. Yes, given the size of our population, given the potential, the boundless potential that our country has, we can do much better.
Are you saying that in the area of devaluing, looking at the Bretton Woods institution, so most of the time we take advice from them. Should we stop taking advice from them and let us look inwards, just like the way China does, and let's create our own kind of economy?
It's difficult for a third world nation. China is not a third world nation. And you must learn from the bigger countries. India decided to learn from the bigger countries. India learned from China. Today they are much better. We cannot stand on our own in the real sense of the word. And no country is an island. You have to, if you keep going to the West to ask for loans and all that, they will be in position to advise you.
You can't say no.
Remember, even when they returned money stolen by Abacha to us, they told us that one of the conditions for them to release the money is for us to get the civil society organizations to monitor how that money will be used. Because they've had stories that the money looted, when released to us, we will reloot it. So we committed the money to building a Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, building the second Niger Bridge, and the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway. And release of the money was monitored.
For transparency.
Yes, by the NGOs, as demanded by the people released. It's our money, but for you to get their cooperation next time, because we still have some of those monies with them, when we need it, when we are very, very broke, somehow Abacha steps in and assist us. So the money, those monies that is stole, we still have some left.
Okay.
For us to get their buy-in in terms of the release, then they set conditions. And it's always like that when you take a loan from people and all that. So,
okay. All right, Mayor, let's, in the last 64 years, okay, let's not limit to 16 years. How have we fared? Are we on the right path where the president said that the mistakes of the past, we must not bring it to the future? So how have we fared?
I think I would say that our economy is suffering from structural defects. Yes, structural defects. And the problem basically has to do with leadership or lack of it. Because when you look at when we were in the regions, the basis of prosperity in those regions was agriculture.
Okay.
But unfortunately for us, we discovered oil in large quantity. We started making a lot of money. Different crises made oil to be very profitable. And we missed our way. We started spending money like docking sailor. Yes, we were able to achieve some infrastructural development, but misconduct so much that when the world economy started having problems, our economy did not have enough shock absorber to be able to absorb it. When you now add that to the leadership and lack of it, from 1960 to date, you discover that we have an economy that has challenges. But one thing you have to give to our economy is that from 1960 to date, we have not done badly. We have not done badly. Until recently, when our currency was devalued, we used to have the biggest economy in Africa, bigger than South Africa, that is well developed and well structured. And there was a time in this country when manufacturing was the in thing. Major, yes, in textiles, in pharmaceuticals, even cars. Even cars assembly. Yes, we used to have Peugeot, we used to have Volkswagen, we used to have Leyland in Ibadan. So there was a time our economy was good. But unfortunately, we missed our way.
Where did we get it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's lack of leadership. And part of the problem has to do with when the military were there for a long time, they didn't handle things properly. The military left. The set of politicians that came in were not different. You understand? People over time has continued to loot the Nigerian patrimony, our collective patrimony, and then Abacha is an example When you continue to collect over last maybe $4-5 billion now from one person, when you take that kind of volume, that is one person taking that kind of amount from the national port, and then there are different people in different segments, in different agencies, in different layers of government, from governors to local government and all that. So you now realize that we have plundered the country, that the economy could not withstand the shocks that were coming. Because recently, it's not only in Nigeria that we have these economic challenges. We have to consider
that's true.
The world is facing it. Even China, as successful as they are, their economy has slowed considerably. It's only India that is really doing very well now. So there have been challenges structured, but most of the problems that we had were man-made. We had the opportunity to be a big nation. Other nations that we started out together, India, like Singapore, Malaysia, all of them are levels behind. Because, like I said, there was lack of leadership, we were looting the treasury, and then just to a point, the economy could not just withstand it.
I think largely the oil boom has been a cost to us.
Okay,
True. The moment, the oil boom of the 70s, the moment we saw oil, our interest in agriculture declined. All of those bridges on Lagos Island, all of those industries here in Lagos, Ogun State, Oyo State, were built with money made from cash crops. Cocoa House itself, the first such building in West Africa. WNBC.
WNBC.
And WNTV. the first in Africa, were built by Awolowo and co. From proceeds from cash crops. The same thing in the north. But the moment we saw that we are making money from oil, the government interest in agriculture declined. All of the policies that they came up with by themselves, they did not even pursue those programs. It was the oil boom that turned us away from agriculture. And when we talk about the fact that Nigeria was among the 9 big countries of the world, Singapore, Malaysia, India, and the rest of them, it was agriculture that put us in that position. Today, when you go to Kano, you know there used to be this granite pyramid. The place where they used to put those granite pyramids, the iconic picture of those that era. The place is now, they now sell cars. Initially, they were using it to wash, they were washing clothes. They renamed it Filling Wanka, that is feed for washing of clothes. All those local dry cleaners, that was where they were converging to wash clothes. You know, where we used to assemble bags of granite. From that point, it turned to where they were selling second-hand cars. So that's the extent to which we neglected agriculture, and is one of the reasons for the mess that we found ourselves.
All right, we need to go on this quick break. When we return, we're going to be talking about Nigeria's unity in diversity. Don't go anywhere. We'll be... Okay, all right, let's go back to the conversation. Nigeria became independent in 1960.
Correct.
But the arguments that are coming together was like a forced marriage of different identities. What are your thoughts here?
I don't agree with that. We have moved beyond that. When people talk, Nigeria's marriage is a Catholic marriage. There's no divorce in our marriage. Since 1914, yes, we were different nations when we were married by Lord Lugard. But we have moved from there, because despite the fact of our challenges, there is strength in numbers. There is strength in numbers. And there is very few countries in the world where you have homogeneity that they are the same people. Even advanced countries, even UK, even America, you understand? It's a collection of different people. So we should not look back. Looking back will not solve the problem. Nigeria is already an entity since 1960. So we should move forward and look at how the country could be better. That we were forced together by Lord Lugard. Yeah, it was administrative convenience at that time. It was administrative convenience that made them to merge everybody in different regions. But fine, it has been done, and we have moved from there now for 64 years. So I don't think we should look back that we were forced to come together and all that. That's why I tell people we are in this marriage already.
We are in it together. Yes, whatever problem we can solve.
Let us move forward. Yes, let us, because there is, like I said, there is strength in the numbers that we have. It's just that we are not using it well. India has become one of the major economies of the world. Very soon they will even overtake others. And what they are doing is, even their population is now more than China. There is strength in population if we will use it well. If you harness it properly. So we should do that. But my own argument, my own belief is that for us to solve this economy, for us to reboot this economy, we must go back to agriculture. That's
making agriculture attractive is the problem. But anyway, BK, we have over 250 ethnic groups. How will you assess the way President Bola Tinubu has been able to handle these issues? Has it done it right? Is it doing it right? You know,
Nigerian leaders, as I said, I don't want to base this discussion on what is happening now. Looking at our country since independence and the challenges that we face did not begin in one day. The successes that we have recorded were not recorded in one day. So this is not a Bola Tinubu conversation. It's about Nigeria. How have we fared? So as much as possible, let's look at what we've been able to achieve over the years. Because statistics sometimes can be misleading. Because if we want to simply look at, we cannot judge the success of Nigeria or the failure of Nigeria by the events of 1.5 years.
Okay.
No, it's not so. Let's leave Bola Tinubu alone. Maybe after 4 years,
we can
assess him. So, but we are celebrating our independence. We have to look at what our leaders have done. So, Nigerian leaders have done their best to unite us as a people.
Okay.
Since after the Civil War, certain states unite our people. The word, the phrase "unity in diversity" was actually coined by former Indian Prime Minister Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru.
Okay.
Because you look at India, which today is the most populated country in the world, it has different people. There are more Muslims in India than there is in any country of the world. Yet, Islam is not the dominant religion in their country.
Okay.
But there are many Muslims, Indians who have accepted Islam as their own true religion in that country. Okay. There are Buddhists, there are all kinds of people. Okay. Yet they've been able to forge a country that works.
Okay.
That's how Nehru then came up with that phrase, unity in diversity. Nigeria is similar to India in many ways in terms of the multiplicity of ethnicities that we have. There are states in Nigeria where you have more than 100 ethnic groups. More than 100 ethnic groups, people speaking different languages. Adamawa is one state with multiple ethnicities. You go to Kaduna, multiple ethnicities. People speaking, you can in a particular community, in a particular town, for example, you find people who do not even understand each other's language. In one town, literally people parceled out to different clans, but they speak different languages. That's how it is in Kaduna. You go to southern Kaduna, people, different ethnic groups, and what's it called, Adamawa as well, and even Borno to an extent. So they created unity schools. The idea of unity schools after the Civil War was for Nigerians to be able to know their country, mingle with people from different parts of the country. So we had those federal government colleges. People like Shagari, the late president, his own children were going to school in federal government college, Ilorin. That was where, as president of the country, his children were in federal government college, Ilorin. Because I still remember the accident that killed his wife and children. It was unfortunate. Then we also had the NYC. The NYC was designed for the same purpose of forging national cohesion. It brought people together, from different parts of the country to serve their country in places that they had not been to before. It was believed that, let the person who is a southerner go and serve in northern Nigeria. Maybe one distant community, And then they also had exchange programs for students to even go to schools that are not federal government colleges, not unity schools, but for them to go and study in those schools. In Okene, where I attended secondary school, for example, there were such exchange students who came from Plateau and other states. All of this, they designed so that Nigerians would see each other as their brothers, their sisters, and see us as people belonging to one country. And we also had the federal character principle. The whole idea of the federal character principle is to ensure that everybody in Nigeria have the same rights to employment, the same rights to joining the armed forces. So the federal character principle was one of the policies designed to forge national cohesion, national oneness, national synthesis, so that we'll see ourselves increasingly as one people. And then the National Orientation Agency was created for the purpose of reaching out to Nigerians and making Nigerians realize that it's such a good thing for us to see ourselves as one indivisible country. It's just like South Africa. They call them the Rainbow Nation. And Desmond Tutu said, oh, it is actually the rainbow people of God that is united by the love of God, united even on the basis of religion.
Okay.
So I would say that over the years we've tried. We are not perfect, but I wonder how Nigeria would be if we didn't have NYC, for example.
Okay.
Many people would not even know other parts of the country.
Exactly. Exactly. We need to go on this quick break right now. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout.
lásìkò yìí o tó bá fẹ́ ìrànlọ́wọ́ ìrànlọ́wọ́ ń bọ̀ wá o. ìrànlọ́wọ́ Lagos nítorí Sanwó-Olú ń ṣiṣẹ́ mo ní lásọ̀rẹ́ Tinubu Èkó.
inú mi dùn gan-an tí gómìnà wa Sanwó-Olú ṣe fún wa lénìí. adébí wọn ká wá fún ìwòsàn ọ̀fẹ́ adẹ̀dẹ́bí ara àwọn doctors oríṣiríṣi wọn ṣàyẹ̀wò fún wa. wọ́n fún wa lóògùn tó dáa then wọ́n wá fún wa wá gbé packages fún wa wọ́n lé àwa tabatilé láti 70.
My big thanks goes to Lagos State government. For since I was born, I've never come across this type of a thing before.
Your eco cares, my eco cares for me. Eco cares for you.
All right, if you just joined us, it is still Journalist Hangout. I still have the veteran BKO and Mayor Kimpelu right here. All right, BKO, you were talking about the issue of agriculture. How do we make agriculture attractive? You talked about it that we missed our way when the oil boom, the Yankee Poll War and all of that. But how do we now make agriculture attractive, especially for the young Nigerians?
You always told the people in government that there's a need to make agriculture attractive to young people. Because we have an aging farming population. When you go to many parts of our country, you see that young people are not really interested in agriculture. The way to encourage them is to bring in technology. These young people who are on social media, even from the way they talk, they are a self-entitled generation. They are not people that you are going to just tell them, go, this is a piece of land, go and giving it to go and work on it. You must tractorize those fields.
Mechanized.
Yes, that's what I mean. Tractorize the fields, make high-yield seedlings available to them.
Okay.
Yes, make soft loans available to them, give them the startup capital, and get them to realize that there's a lot that they can gain. Then we had DFRI back then, during the military era, was meant to create roads in rural communities so that produce from those farms can be easily evacuated and taken to where the markets are.
Yeah, the markets.
Today, if you go to Benue State, a lot of the mangoes, oranges produced, they can't find market for them.
Post-harvest losses.
They can sell a bucket of, I can't even remember how much I bought a bucket of oranges just outside of Boko. Because they will not, who will buy? Government should also work with the private sector to set up companies that would produce maybe fruit juices, for example, in places like Benue where the raw material is readily available. Because it is from such things, from making chocolate out of cocoa, that is where the money is. The money is not in selling the produce itself. Côte d'Ivoire produces a lot of cocoa. But the money that they make in Switzerland from turning cocoa to chocolate is by far higher than what the people produce it. So we need to do our best in this area. But I believe that the government all of the policies of government, we look back at them, National Accelerated Food Production Program, NAFP, in 1973, Operation Feed the Nation that Obasanjo did in 1976, and Rural Basin and Rural Development Authorities that the military came with. Then in 2011, we had the Nigerian Agricultural Transformation Agenda, ATA. All of these programs have achieved little or nothing because our focus is on oil.
Until we focus back.
People, if the current governors, for example, they have land. Land belongs to the states. What are they waiting for? You see states with so much land, apart from the governor of Niger, that I'm really impressed with his work.
Yes.
These governors are not interested in boosting agriculture. They are interested in awarding contracts for overhead bridges in some places where they are not needed, and airports.
All right. Mayor, in the area of agriculture, Nigeria before is known as a green nation,
and it can still be done.
How do we lose that?
It's because government took decisive steps to get involved in agriculture, and that's what we should do again. One, all tiers of government must be involved in agriculture. That's number one. Especially states and local governments. Every state. There must be a meeting that will agree among the federal government and the states that every state must be involved in agriculture. You will concentrate on where you have comparative advantage. Whether it is yam that is good here, whether it's cocoa that is good here, whether it is tomato that is good here. Every state will concentrate where they have comparative advantage. Then you will have farms, mechanized farms, and then you will now put people in clusters to form like
rice growing clusters.
Yes, like a farmers club, where everybody, if you have in this local government or in this state, you have designated maybe 6
You have 1 hectare.
Yes, you have 6 points as the farming areas where you want to do. You can attract young people, because what you need to do is to provide infrastructure, tractors, seedlings and all that. The state provides that. Then you allocate the land to each farmer with the support that they want. You have already given them the infrastructure that they need to work. So they will be in a farmers club. They can get that loan based on not, but because what they are doing, what they did before, during the time of Buhari, the governor, Central Bank initiated anchor borrowers, and they just collected the money and people just went to people who are not even farmers.
How about for states to liaise with other states?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think Lagos State did with
because Lagos has not not got land.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that everybody should concentrate where they have comparative advantage. Then when you do that, apart from the fact that you provide the funding through soft loans and then the infrastructure through mechanized farming, then you form them into clubs so that everybody will be able to do that. When the proceeds from such farms, you understand, that will be government will have marketing boards who will buy most of the things from them. You understand? Bought value from these farmers. So the
good
farmer,
prices.
The farmer is
we used to have that back in the
day. Farmer concentrates on producing things, on production. He will not bother about how am I going to sell. He mentioned where people will do they will produce oranges and there's nobody to buy in Bedouin. Then they will now sell it cheap. But if the government had been involved, they would have gone down or up. There are a lot of companies doing that. Chivita is doing juices everywhere. Those are their basic products that they need. But we need to do it properly. Let each state get involved. Let us form farmers club where you put people. Give them, do mechanized farming by providing the tractors that they need. The tractors go and work in all those.
I think one of the other is, even in the 70s, banks provided loans as part of the agri program of government. But the rate of default was too high. So banks became discouraged from providing loans to farmers. If you look at the Anchor Borrowers Program, in terms of the rate of repayment of the loan, is one of the worst. Because politicians access the funds, people set up fake cooperatives, fake farmers cooperatives, just to access the money, and they never got involved in farming.
Why is the EFCC and ICPC not looking in that regard? But anyway, let's look at education, because our time is fast spent. Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children. How do we address this issue?
we need to address insecurity. Some of the problem is caused by insecurity. Because, and when you look at the number of schools, for example, Boko Haram destroyed hundreds of schools in Borno State alone. Okay. And they killed thousands of teachers. The out-of-school children that insecurity has caused is monumental. I can tell you because this is something that I witnessed. I traveled to Zamfara to investigate the kidnapping of school girls. Okay. You know? And I discovered that that school where those guys took away school girls, by the time, after about a year, the school was reopened. By the time the school reopened, only about half of the students were back. The rest, their parents didn't think they should come back. Okay. So, and it's like that. The bandits keep targeting schools because they. With this Safe Schools project or something.
Okay, Safe School Initiative.
We need to ask ourselves, how well has it helped us to secure those schools? Because security is not simply putting perimeter fencing. Sure. It's beyond that. We have to, even tertiary institutions have been attacked by these people. So we need to look at even the Almajiri education. Okay. How well has it performed? Can we take it to the next level?
To the next level.
All of those children roaming the streets should actually be in school. And I expect that our governors, especially from the far north, will look at the Almajiri syndrome, just as the governor of Borno has complained, and do their best to take those children off the streets. They have no reason holding bowls, begging for food all over the place. The governor of Borno State said the people who were involved in the attack on business premises during the last protest were these Almajiris. He said it, the governor of Borno State. So how much longer are we going to allow this to continue? A good chunk of the out-of-school children are actually Almajiris. Then we also need to make education free. At least from primary to secondary. Okay. Make it free so that poor people, their children can access education. If we do that, the number of people who can afford education would increase because a lot of these students drop out. They drop out after primary school. Okay. Parents won't be able to pay WAEC fees. They won't be able to pay JAM fees. And the private schools, you don't even go. So if we can make education accessible to all at that level, primary and secondary, it will help us to reduce the out-of-school children.
Right, my own position is that government should take education seriously, more seriously. Most governments don't. And that's the only way we can solve that problem. The amount of money allocated to education is too low. That is the major problem. The amount of money allocated to education is too low. Okay. The government, from the federal government to the state government, must consciously increase funding to our education. Because part of the problem is that even those, let's not bother about, apart from the out of school students, those even attending schools, what is the state of some of those schools? You will see pictures in this 21st century of students still going to school and sitting on their floor. You understand? So we must increase the funding to the educational sector. We must invest heavily in infrastructure. Then we must make education accessible to everybody that wants to have that education. So I agree absolutely that education from the primary to secondary should be free for everybody.
All right, we'll talk more on infrastructure, but let's go over to our next line of conversation, where at independence in 1960, it was the dream of the founding fathers of Nigeria and indeed the world that the country attains greatness. While that lofty dream is yet to be attained, many people believe that Nigerians can look back to see how far the country has come in forging ahead in this journey to greatness. In his nationwide broadcast, President Tinubu expressed hope that despite many challenges facing the country, it remains a strong, united, and viable sovereign nation. Let's share that with you.
Exactly 64 years ago, our founding fathers chose democracy as a form of government and launched the dream of a great country that will lead the rest of Africa out of poverty, ignorance, and underdevelopment. A beacon of hope for the rest of Africa and the world. Over 6 decades later, we can look back and Nigerians worldwide can see how well we have succeeded in realizing the lofty dream of our founding fathers. The world is witnessing and benefiting from the can-do spirit of Nigerian people, our massive intellectual capacity, and our enterprise and industry in all vocations, from art to science, technology to infrastructure. The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation, we must never lose sight of how far we have come in forging and holding our country together.
All right, Mikhail, the president talked about infrastructure development, but how have we fared? You know, from 1960 till date, how have we fared? Are we getting better, or what are your thoughts?
I think that when you look back, especially in terms of road network,
Okay.
Nigeria has done very well. Nigeria has done very well because when we were young, at least we could literally count the functional roads that we had. But things have improved tremendously. More roads have been constructed. Rural areas opened up. It is ongoing work. So we still have a lot to do by way of fixing our deplorable roads. But in terms of road network, I would say we have done well. Before 1970, there was no dual carriageway in Nigeria. But later, we had, during the Obasanjo era, military era, we had the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And then the first dual carriageway in northern Nigeria was constructed by Ibrahim Babangida. That is the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway. Okay. I even remember that it was the first Prime Minister of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, that he invited to inaugurate the project. And they drove from Kano, because he landed in Kano, there was a double for him. Okay. And they drove from Kano all the way to Abuja on that excellent road. That road now has been reconstructed, you know, more bridges have been constructed on it. The Buhari administration, using funds from the Sovereign Wealth Fund, as well as Abacha Loot. We are almost done with that road. When you look back, Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is the first airport in Nigeria. It began operation in 1936. It actually started operation before the one here in Lagos. Today, look at how many airports we have. Look at how many airports we have. So, Again, it is
with the growth.
you see, we need to get the private sector more involved.
Okay.
Let's have PPP initiatives. That's the only way we can maintain our roads.
But I've heard arguments that, okay, the quality of roads back then and the quality of roads now, back then was better. But what are your thoughts on that?
You see, the thing is, the pressure on funds at this time is far greater than that time because it's a country that is expanding, the population is greater. And the rate of use of the road will eventually get it eroded. In those days, those roads were very, if you are driving, even some of the roads that Awolowo constructed, they are still there.
Exactly.
But they are not dual carriageway. Our society, in terms of our country, in terms of the number of vehicles flying roads, are far more than before.
Far more.
So if you don't expand those roads, people will die. There will be more accidents and head-on collisions, especially on narrow roads. But those roads, I agree, were very durable. The roads constructed by L.A. Banjoko, Dumez, and the rest of them. They are solid, but we've had to now expand them because it's inevitable. Population growth. Look at the Nigerian population in 1963. It was just a little over 50 million, less than 60 million. But today we are talking about 200 and
over
something.
200 million.
So and with greater population, there's greater pressure on infrastructure. So we must find a way to maintain infrastructure. That's why I say we must bring in the private sector
involvement.
Government cannot fund roads alone. In fact, they can't pay. A lot of the contractors, they are owing their contractors trillions of naira. So until we bring in
private sector,
yes, we won't be able to solve some of these problems that we have.
How will
infrastructure? In terms of infrastructure, I would say that we have done very well. From 1960 to date, we have done very. In fact, actually, the only thing, the number one thing you can credit government, successive government in this country for, is in the issue of infrastructure. We have done exceedingly well. Even the military, as they set us back, most of the bridges that you see in Lagos were built by the military.
Yes.
You understand? And so each government improved on the state of infrastructure in the country, and they've done well. They've done well when it comes to infrastructure, especially during the regime of this immediate
former President
Buhari. They did a lot in terms of infrastructure. Different things. They collected a lot of loans, did a lot of trains, did a lot of roads.
I think it's rail transport that we've not done well.
We've not done. But now they've started concrete.
Because they've done, yes, that's what I said. When it comes to roads, we've done well. Even during that Buhari's government, they introduced the idea of companies building roads and then using it as tax relief and all that. So when it comes to infrastructure, I think we have done very well.
Because of our time, the president spoke to Nigerians today. I'll just give you 30 seconds. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think it's a good speech.
Did it address?
Yes, it showed empathy.
It showed empathy.
Yeah, the president showed empathy. It's a very nice thing to tell people that, look, I understand what you are going through. Because it is economic challenges that is paramount now, that is number one in the country now. And I was able to tell Nigerians that, look, I understand, I feel your pain. I know what you are going through. And we are working hard to solve that problem. That is very good. And then he was able to now mention things that they plan to do and to give hope. Because when things are tough like this, you need to give hope. That, okay, we are working on the economy, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and very soon things will start changing. So I think, by and large, it's a good speech.
All right, BK, we all saw this speech. What do you make out of it? You talked about that. The empathy was there. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's inevitable. A leader must show empathy.
Sure.
People are going through a lot at this time, so it was good that he talked about it. He cannot pretend not to know that people are going through a lot, and he talked about that. Yes, and the need for us to continue to sacrifice. What Nigerians will be happy to see is for progress in the areas where he's making progress to continue. For example, the president came to government at a time when we were spending about 97% of our revenue to service debt. That has improved. It's now in the region of 60, I think 67. Yes, so that's improvement. And more money is coming in.
Yeah,
because
we can see that
they are blocking the avenues through which resources are leaking. So more money is coming in. We are beginning to earn a lot more.
Okay.
And I know that their plan is to even reduce the human interference, which ensures that people are able to steal money. We're going to get technology involved.
Okay, good.
And so that our revenue generating agencies, the incidence of theft, stealing of what should go to the country is reduced drastically by the infusion of technology. So they are working along that line, and I know that will bring results. Okay. But Nigerians need to see the pain that they are going through east. Whatever we say, no one will remember that some progress has been made until they begin to see progress in terms of their welfare.
Exactly.
So the issue, I want to see the price of petrol come down, for example. Yeah, whatever we are doing, whether it is naira for crude that we are doing with Dangote, it must end up in the reduction of the price. Yeah. And thankfully now, the landing cost is going down.
True.
Across the world, they are reducing the price of gasoline. Even South Africa reduced because the landing cost is going down. It has responded to the global decline in the global prices. So Nigerians want to see that petrol price go down. Nigerians want to see the value of their currency appreciate. Because everything revolves around it.
Yes.
If we are unable to do this, just give me 1 minute. If we are unable to do that, whatever the government does,
it will not.
People will say, no, they've not done anything. That is always my advice. I told President Buhari at that time, I said, if you build houses in the sky for people, if they remain hungry, they will not credit you with achieving anything. And that, you can't even bring any discussion about what the government is doing. People don't want to hear.
True.
They are concerned about their belly.
True. But anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. How time flies. I wish we had more time. We could have, we could have talked a lot more. No. But anyway, thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you very much for having this conversation. The veteran.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having this conversation. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11 and join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Happy Independence Day anniversary once again, and God bless Nigeria.
A nation bound by many ethnic groups, culture and traditions, striving to succeed.
A people of great resolution in the quest for change. We are Nigeria.
Our nation is right. Together we are stronger, moving forward. We are rising. Like the people love we are. We are Nigeria. Together we are stronger. We prosper together. We are Nigeria. Together we can move Nigeria forward. Future is bright. We won't stop believing.
Jerusalem, Munatare, Mutaya, 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 Ragadam, Ragadam, Ragadam.
Warawa, Rirawa, Amorawa, Iba Adara, Babakbirawa.
Ha, Odogu, Swaga Woke Puliche, Ha. Adiniche, Chipago Zigain, Uzo Niche, boss of the Eastern, Mobi Muslim, or Mobu Christian, Northern, South, or Western. I ain't Chabu Mwane, Ofune no Funda, Obodo Punkai, Chipuna Goziano.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen? Introducing ShopX Gotham Hammered Copper Collection, the perfect cookware to upgrade your cooking experience. The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection features a super durable ultra non-stick surface. Eggs stick to other pans, but with the Hammered Copper Collection, they slide right out. Incredible! It's oven safe up to 500 degrees. Any recipe can be made in these pans, and then it wipes clean with ease. Make mouth-watering jollof rice or even fluffy pounder with ease, because nothing sticks.
I needed a cookware to keep up with me. The Gotham Hammered Collection has been a game changer. No more burnt meals or hours spent scrubbing pots.
You would normally pay up to 400,000 naira for the 10-piece Gotham Hammered Collection. But call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the entire collection for not 350,000 naira, not even 300,000 naira, but for just 264,950 naira. Incredible! This incredible ShopX offer includes one 8.5 inches fry pan, one 10.25 inches fry pan, one 1.4 liter saucepan, one 2.4 liter saucepan, one 4.7 liter stock pot, one stainless steel steamer, 4 tempered glass lids. But wait, there's more. If you order now, we will upgrade you to the 15-piece Gotham Hammered Collection at no extra charge, and also include one cookie sheet, one round baking pan, one square baking pan, one loaf pan and muffin pan, all for just 264,950 naira only. And that's not all. If you order right now, we will also add a free gift to your order. This special gift includes a peeler that peels potatoes and vegetables in an instant, a pair of kitchen scissors, and 4 knives engineered with super steel that can cut through anything. And we're still not done. If you order now, you can get the ShopX Gotham Hammered Collection along with your free gift in 2 easy payments of 132,475 naira. That's right, pay twice and get this ultimate kitchen solution. Amazing! Place your order now and we'll deliver the entire collection for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. But hurry, this exclusive ShopX TV offer is for a limited time only. So, call now while stock lasts. Elevate your kitchen experience today.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
Happy Independence Day, everyone. You're watching Beyond 100 Days with Nifemi Oguntoye. As Nigeria marks its 64th independence anniversary, President Bola Tinubu has called on Nigerians to be patient with his administration as better days lie ahead. He promised more interventions to revamp the economy as the country is winning the war on banditry.
Bola Tinubu's nationwide broadcast begins with an acknowledgement of the prevailing economic hardship in the country and an assurance that his administration is aware and working to alleviate the sufferings.
Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
But again, the president also admits that 64 years after independence, the journey of nationhood has recorded modest successes.
We have learned to embrace our diversity and manage our differences better as we continue to work towards engendering a more perfect union.
President Bola Tinubu says the economy is undergoing the necessary reforms and retooling to serve Nigeria better and more sustainably.
If we do not correct the physical misalignment that led to the current economic downturn, our country will face an uncertain future and the peril of unimaginable consequences.
And some hours after that broadcast, President Tinubu hosted some dignitaries at the presidential villa for Guard of Honor parade, cutting of anniversary cake, which is symbolic to our national development. We'll bring you details of that subsequently, but still talking independence, presiding bishop of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, Bishop Michael Konko, speaks on the Nigeria of his dream and what to be done to make it better.
Now we have joining us to discuss Nigeria's 64, one of Nigeria's most celebrated Pentecostal preacher, Bishop Mike Okonkwo. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now, sir, at 64, what do you think? Do you think Nigeria has reached its full potential?
Of course not. There are lots of things yet to be attained. I think we are just, we've not really scratched the potentials of this country. We've not scratched it at all. And it's something really very unfortunate, given the endowment, God's endowment resources over this nation. Nigeria is a nation that is greatly endowed, human resources, material, and even economic resources. We have it, call it whatever. We have it in this country. And why I make bold to say that is as a result of our different people in our different, the people who are operating in different parts of the world, holding their own in other nations. Yeah. That shows you that Nigeria is a great country. So we've not really scratched what God intends for us to be as a nation.
I'm sure growing up you had a vision of the kind of Nigeria you would want to see. Does that dream come true for you? In fact, it's a far cry from the dream we had. And for instance, if I must tell you that there are, when we were growing up, we were not afraid to live anywhere in the country. You live, in fact, like I've said it in many fora, I've lived most of my life in the western part of Nigeria. I was in my teens when I lived in Offa, from where I gained entrance exam into secondary school, Mayfly, Kenneth, and all that. And there was I wasn't frightened going anywhere in the country. But now, it's you don't want to go everywhere because you are just watching your back. You see it. And the issue of the ethnic division that we now see in the country was not there. I mean, take for instance, where we lived in Lagos here at Brickfield Road, Butemeta, number 60 precisely, was owned by an Ijebu man. But his relationship with my father was just like this. There was no difference. No one was able to say this is different from this or that. We live in the same compound. And when we had a very short movement from Lagos, it's very short, just about a year or so, from Lagos to another to the east. We still came back to the same compound. That's to show you the type of relationship we had. So, but now it's a totally different ballgame. A lot of things have changed.
You talked about then you weren't scared of moving from one place to the other.
Yeah.
What do you think can be done to address such insecurity, the one you've mentioned, so that people can move freely and not be scared, the way you put it?
First is, a lot of things contributed to the insecurity, as we can see. So to provide solution is that the government, in fact, I even find it difficult to understand why we are finding it difficult to deal with the insecurity in the country. Why do I say so? Is because we live in a technology age where, the technology is there to be able to detect anything. It's easier now, unlike that time, to be able to detect things, even though crime was not as high as it is today. So I think that the government should be intentional and strategic when it comes to the issue of security, because when people are not secured, a lot of things go wrong. There will be no development, there will be no progress in a thing. So the government has to be really intentional, strategic, and both and deliberate concerning it, and with intention of really eradicating insecurity. Get whatever it takes to be able to identify those who are behind all these things. I mean, to think that we are living in a nation where we are now paying ransom to live. I read in the news the other day that how much billion that have been spent within a year by different governments and all that in order to ransom. I mean, what type of country is that? Why are we paying people who are making life difficult for the citizens? So I think that the government should do more than just calling for committees and other things, because I do believe we have I think we have the best of men when it comes to people in the military, we have the best of, we helped other nations in their countries, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and all this in Cote d'Ivoire. Why is it difficult for us to be able to deal with our issues here? So I think that people should come out of the closet and be sincere and honest to be able to deal with the insecurity in the country.
Bishop Michael Koko there in an exclusive interview with TVC News talking about his dream of a new Nigeria. Let's take you back to the presidential villa earlier today for the Guard of Honor parade, the cutting of anniversary cake, which is symbolic to our national development. Femi Akonde has more in this report.
President Bola Tinubu arrived at the forecourt of the presidential villa, escorted by the police-mounted troops and the Guard Brigade bagpipers. He first inspected the quarter guard before mounting a platform to take the national salute. President Bola Tinubu is here as the special guest of honor and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He inspected the full guard of honor mounted by members of the Presidential Guards Brigade. Later, President Bola Tinubu and his guests were treated to a military spectacle. The color party also took the flags of the armed forces on patrol as an indication of their readiness to defend the sovereignty and integrity of Nigeria. Later, there was a silent drill by the platoon of the Guards Brigade. The purpose is to exemplify the discipline and professionalism of the Nigerian Army, featuring the synchronization of steps and mastery of weapons. Beyond the military drill, President Bola Tinubu's guests looked regal, as they were mostly clad with fabric of the national attire unveiled by the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. The fabric, designed by a 25-year-old graduate of the University of Ibadan, was picked after a competition organized by the Renewed Hope Initiative. This is seen as a symbol of national unity.
If we are to become...
The president's message in the statewide broadcast resonated here among cabinet members and other invited guests. It was an acknowledgement of the prevailing challenges in the country.
The youth, like the president also duly recognized, constitute over 60% of our population by demography. And I believe that the time to listen to the youth is not just when they are on the streets protesting. If we could hear them loud and clear when they are protesting, we should be able to even hear them louder when we are all seated.
And for the first time in the history of this country, we have a president that listens to us. We have a president that when we go to and we go and plead and said this is what we want, he's ready to listen.
The military parade in commemoration of the country's 64th anniversary was also beyond the aesthetics. It depicted the strength, capacity and professionalism of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The anniversary cake cut by President Bola Tinubu in commemoration of Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary. This is also symbolic of the national cake or the Commonwealth of Nigeria, which President Bola Tinubu says his administration will ensure everyone gets a piece of it. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Now, for more on the 64th independence anniversary, I'm joined by former ADC presidential candidate, Dumebi Kachukwu. He joins me live from our Abuja studio. Happy Independence Day, Mr. Kachukwu. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening. Mr. President's speech earlier today somehow highlighted the importance of acknowledging progress amidst challenges. What are your thoughts on striking a balance between reflecting on setbacks and recognizing our achievements as a nation? How do you weigh the pros and cons of Nigeria's journey so far?
Thanks for having me in your program. It's a good question. I believe that the speechwriter definitely had a very difficult time, but obviously when you look at the body politic, you look at the situation within Nigeria today, what do you write for the president to say to Nigerians at a time like this, when obviously all we see are the challenges that face us? So the speechwriter struggled, and the struggles came throughout the speech. So the president took us back down memory lane to the creation of Nigeria and talked about our founding fathers and what we should look forward to, what we should expect. But what surprised me the most about the speech, that the critical issue facing Nigerians and all Nigerians today is the vexatious issue of subsidy removal and the cost of fuel, the rising prices of goods and services in Nigeria. And the president did not address that in his speech. And I'm sure for a lot of people, that caused a lot of anxiety. The president devoted, I think, a paragraph and a half to security, where I must say that it's clear that the presidency, they are doing quite a good job in taking on the fight to the terrorists in the northwest and the northeast. You can see that it's no longer business as usual, where it seemed that people could just waltz in through the borders of our country and take on a sovereign nation. Or it's clear that we're taking the fight to these people now. So that's obvious. So that's one major achievement of Tinubu's administration. But he just devoted a paragraph and a half to that. You know, he devoted four paragraphs to the youths. Tensions, it will always boil down to implementation. And we can see that the failure of this government is in the area of implementation. So he speaks about the youths. They have a national youth fund, about 110 billion naira, and the Ministry of Youths. And if you ask about implementation today, I don't believe it's up to 10%. I don't believe they are really doing much there. There are a lot of areas where all the good policies that the president comes up with, speaks about, and when you speak about implementation, you don't see that they are being implemented as seriously. So this is what frustrates Nigerians. Every day, as a business owner myself, they recently passed the minimum wage bill, 70,000 naira now. And we've been told it's against the law for you to pay anyone less than that. The issue is, how are businesses going to cope with that? What are they supposed to do? Businesses are folding up. I felt that the economy should have been addressed squarely. Whatever policies, programs, plans that the president has for the economy should have been addressed squarely. This was a good opportunity for him to tell us exactly what, instead of speaking in general terms, he should have given us specifics as to what he was going to do to fix the economy. I felt that the speech was lacking in that. Like I said when I started, the speech writer definitely had a difficult time crafting this speech because the issues are very, 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 very serious, and obviously it's difficult to try and take a lot of these things in one speech.
Tell that you have taken time to scrutinize Mr. President's speech, identifying what you call the great omission about the price of fuel. But when you ask the question, how will businesses survive? I thought you provided that answer in your daily nuggets, which you shared some 10 hours ago. According to you, I think you were asking the question of how do we survive? And you're saying it is now a world of needs and not wants. This should be the question every one of us should ask before we make any purchase. Do I need this? Or do I want it? Is that more or less like a comic relief for you? Or you think that Nigerians can really understand that position as to how to cope in this time?
Brilliant. I love the fact that you brought my nuggets of today up. And yes, at a time like this, like it's happening all over the world when economies are struggling, people have got to make plans. What's your plan B? You need to cut costs. That's the smartest thing to do. Now, if people are cutting costs in order to survive the grueling economy, the government should also be cutting costs. But the people are frustrated because they don't see the government to be cutting costs. So you understand the dilemma of the Nigerian people. So we know what we should be doing. We are trying our best. People have downgraded from 3 meals to a meal a day. Some people do 2 meals in 2 days. So people are doing whatever they can because they must survive. But what is the government doing to show that they are in tandem with the Nigerian people? I think this is the disconnect people have with the government. I always say this. Any president, even if we had a President Peter Obi or a President Atiku or a President Mimika, any president at a time like this will struggle because Nigeria in the year 2024 is facing critical multifaceted issues. And you cannot solve these problems in 1 day or 1 year. You can also not solve these problems if you don't have the Nigerian people working in tandem with you. So I have always said the first task of this president is to bring all Nigerians together under the green, white, green of our flag. Nigerians are still fighting or reeling over the last elections, where you have a large group of Nigerians who are still feeling vexed or injured about the outcome of the elections, and the president has not shown what I call leadership in managing that issue, in bringing these people under his family, under his umbrella, to say, whereas these elections didn't go how you expected it, but I need you guys to work with me to make Nigeria work again. It's like the president has all these schemes that he's doing for Nigerians, but the Nigerians are not with the president. They are not showing signs that they are supporting his government. And we all have a role to play in making Nigeria work. Those people who don't want to work with the president are destroying Nigeria. A president who doesn't understand that these people are not working with him, who needs to bring them under the roof, he's also not doing right. So our roof keeps on leaking, and we are facing the same problems every day. So yes, he's doing a good job in areas of security. Yes, he's doing a good job in his youth-centric efforts, in his social schemes, in disbursing money. But it's one thing to disburse money. It's another thing for the monies to get to the people that the money has been disbursed for. We saw how much the last government disbursed in the area of agriculture, and how much the CBN disbursed. But when you look at it, when you've checked the figures, do the monies get to the farmers or to the farms? No. So that's what these presidents have to critically look at. You see, for the last 3 weeks, 1 month, they've said they're going to change ministers. What does that do to the psyche of any minister? He stops working. He's afraid that he's going to lose his job, and not much is being done in the ministries today as we speak, because everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen. But action needs to be taken very fast, so that Nigerians can feel a sense of relief.
The expectation for Mr. President is that if farmers are able to return to those areas, to those farmlands they left because of insecurity, it will boost production and eventually drive down the cost of living for many Nigerians. I think time would tell whether or not the speech was inspiring enough. One of the things you have said in one of your nuggets is the need for, if our negatives pull us down, our positives must also pull us up. And we're going to see if Mr. President has been able to achieve that. But recently, you called for an end to the last protests due to loss of lives. And you saw in Mr. President's speech how it took time to express his intent to engage young people. I'm wondering what you think about President Tinubu's proposed 30-day youth conference and how you think that will address the challenges facing young people in Nigeria.
I think that's a brilliant idea. Like I said, the president spent a better part of his speech addressing the youths. Obviously, this is in reaction to the recent protests and all the planned protests, okay? So the president understands that the youths are aggrieved, that the youths are vexed right now, and that he needs to do something. So, like I said, he's making grand and good plans in those directions. It always boils down to the implementation. So I like the fact that he acknowledges that he needs to do something about youths, who he said make up 60% of our population. I like the ideas. I like the things he's trying to do in those areas. Let's see about the implementation now. That's when we can then know if it's actually working. Like I mentioned, the president has already ongoing 110 billion National Youth Empowerment Fund. Is that money being disbursed? How many people have benefited from that scheme? So the president is doing all of these things, noble things that he needs to do. But it's about the people who is entrusted to do these things. Are they doing what he has asked them to do? So schemes are good, ideas are good. It now boils down to the implementation. I always say this, like you mentioned and alluded to my daily nuggets. I speak daily about Nigerians' servitude, Nigerians doing their bit. They must work with government. They must support government. Government is not in isolation or an island unto itself. The Nigerian people are a part of government. The people who work in government are Nigerians like you and I. There's nobody I know whose name in his passport is government. Government is made up of Nigerians like you and I. So the people in being disconnected from government or from Nigeria are causing harm to Nigeria. We all have a role to play in making Nigeria work for everyone. This government right now, the private sector is dealing with the huge Japa syndrome. Companies are being affected as people live every day in droves to other climes. These are our best and brightest, our middle class who are living. So who is going to operate in the private sector? Who is going to operate in government? So Nigerians are making a mistake in that regard. But let me tell you something. I travel very frequently. Each time I'm coming back to this country, I see other people moving to Nigeria. Who are they? I see Lebanese, Syrians, the Turkish, the Chinese. I see people moving to Nigeria, coming to set up businesses in Nigeria, the same Nigeria where Nigerians are living in droves. So these people are coming, and they are forming part of our middle class. They are the people who are benefiting from a lot of the programs and policies of the government. Whereas Nigerians who should benefit are leaving. Because some people cannot choose to stay one extra day to be patient to see some of these policies work. What is government doing about this? We need to have a conversation that is larger than the APC. It's a Nigerian conversation that involves all Nigerians. The president must first of all have a country before he can be president. And that's what I'm speaking about.
But for many Nigerians, when they hear National Youth Conference, what comes to mind is the 2014 confab. And what happened to that, even though Mr. President is promising to implement resolutions that would come from this one. But do you believe this initiative has the capacity to provide tangible solutions to issues like unemployment, economic empowerment, and education? Or it's merely a symbolic gesture? Have you been able to identify what went wrong with the first one? Is there continuity in government to ensure that all of these resolutions are established and implemented?
I will say this very quickly. I respect the questions you are asking. The questions are questions that show that this is not just a conversation to be a conversation for sake of having a conversation. You are asking very, very genuine questions. Yes, I believe that this president is different from other presidents. I believe that he's going to implement whatever policies or whatever decisions that are reached. I see a president who is assiduously implementing financial autonomy for local governments. I see a president who understands the politics of Nigeria. In his speech, he used the phrase political economy twice. The first time we're hearing this lexicon in our political speech, and a lot of people might not understand the intricacies of that phrase that he has used. But I'm hoping that a president who understands this, who understands the inner workings of everything and how they translate to our body politic as a whole, who understands that there are issues that militate against Nigeria beyond the A, B's, and C's, who will work quietly, be in the background to make sure that some of the things that we can't see, we can't read about, but are working against us, that he fights those things. I believe that the president will do some of those things. But again, best ideas, best of intentions, he still needs people, lieutenants, who will run this race. And that's where the disconnect is today. But you will say this of this government. One thing you can take to the bank about this government is that it seems to be a government that reacts positively to a lot of things they see and hear on social media about Nigerians, about complaints of Nigerians and all those things. I love the fact that in the last 2 months or so, this government has taken on the issue of the youths and their worries, and they are doing a lot to speak about this, to address this. Whereas a lot of our last president, you can protest all you want to protest. You are just you are just probably clowning about, But we see this government responding, Whereas they don't really, they can be like from former president, but they are responding,
Indeed.
Which is good.
The reality is that opinions remain sharply divided as to the performance of this current government, even though Mr. President acknowledges the challenges Nigerians are faced with and is optimistic that his reforms are showing positive signs. People are still sharply divided as to, the direction this administration has taken. My question, however, is how do you think citizens can hold their leaders accountable for delivering on campaign promises? We've seen protests and how they turned sour. We've seen some other forms of civil disobedience that have impacted drastically on the economic reality of the Nigerian people. 64 years after independence, have we been able to come up with, acceptable format of how Nigerians can call government to, action without necessarily disrupting their governance? Well,
that's what social media means to this generation of Nigerians. But the challenge we have is that people don't use social media positively. It seems that a large part of our population are more interested in using social media for skits and jokes. I see sometimes when government is tweeting about something serious or something that affects the same youths who are complaining, that these people, because they sometimes don't understand or sometimes know what government is talking about. They don't see how they can benefit. Perhaps that's why the National Youth Fund is not being disbursed, because maybe a lot of Nigerians don't know about it. They rather complain on social media. I always say this. You know, I was part of student union movements. When people want to protest, when people want to go on strike, they don't give you notice. Youths don't give notice. The day they are fed up, they will go out on the streets. So I always say this so-called protests that we're seeing, we're witnessing, when they're always giving you 30 days notice and what have you, you know, these protests are just, they are what I call a sham or a scam, you know. When the people are truly fed up, no one is going to tell them to go out and truly protest. So what we see are people who are bargaining in the background and doing a lot of stuff and all those things, you know. But it's good that the presidency and the president seems to talk to them, and because people are truly going through hard times. People are struggling. Businesses are closing, and what have you. You know, how do people protest? I would say one way of protesting is to start having more town halls to speak about these issues. But beyond speaking about the issues, we need to start focusing on solutions. You will see that every time on social media you see things going viral, it's about people complaining about what government has not done. But you rarely see people speaking about solutions, about what government needs to do, solutions that work. I spoke last time about the need to, about organizing town halls where we need to speak about solutions, solution-centric town halls. Government belongs to all Nigerians. If the country fails, we all fail. The reign of a bad economy is pouring on all Nigerians. So Nigerians should be speaking about solutions and not problems. We engage too much in problems, because when we speak about problems and people say something, they are angry, it goes viral. We need to start making solutions go viral, so we can have solutions to our dilapidated infrastructure. We can have solutions to our failing economy. We can have solutions to creating employment for our youth. We can have solutions to making sectors that used to be vibrant, like the textile sector, making them vibrant once again. We can have solutions to crude oil theft. We can have solutions to the mineral issues, our education sector that just seems to be going downhill every day.
I agree.
When we start speaking solutions to all of these things, the government will listen.
I agree that we cannot exhaust all of these issues in a single conversation. Nigerians are pregnant with hope. We are hopeful that the renewed hope will be delivered in the lifetime of this administration, and that this government will be able to match words with action. ADC presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Dumebi Kachuku, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this evening.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, we'll dive into the economy and measures to cushion the hardship. Stay with us, everyone. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Whatever the challenge is, Nigerians are still very proud of the Nigerians, and they are quite optimistic and engaging with hope that things will get better, especially with all of the promises we're getting from the federal government. As Nigeria marks its 64th independence anniversary, economists say that government must ensure Nigerians have access to the basic needs of life. This call is coming against the backdrop of the current economic challenges. Correspondent Abimbola Agbebi has details of this report.
Nigeria, the most populous black nation blessed with vast natural resources, has continued to battle poverty amidst its abundance. Many say access to basic needs of life is fast becoming a dream than a reality, as the country continues to have more people who are perpetually in a state of need, relying on others for survival.
Now, research shows that the struggles of the poor include limited access to basic necessities like food, housing, healthcare, education, and employment opportunities.
The poverty is so terrible. We need to really pray hard that things must change. People are dying daily. The thing is getting worse.
As the country marks its 64th independence anniversary, Nigerians say they're again reminded of a country known for its abundant resources, but still lives in abject poverty.
If we can have people use what is meant for the public, and take what is meant for them, we'll have our country growing. Why we are not growing economically is because people are taking what we are supposed to use in developing our economy. They're taking them away.
There's a lot of hunger in the land presently. A hike on the fuel prices is a catalyst to many problems in Nigeria today because transport, house rent, and everything has went up.
We have more than enough, but we are living in poverty. We are suffering. Everybody is crying, both the rich and the poor. Nigeria 64. For me, I don't think we need to celebrate it because every Nigerians are not happy.
Ẹ wo America now, ẹ wo bí ìlú wọn ṣe rí, wọ́n dẹ̀ ń live. So kí ló wá ṣe ti tàwa Nàìjíríà? Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ káwọn ìjọba wa kán bá wa sọ ìlú yìí, kán bá wa sọ dẹ̀rọ̀.
Idu Okweyemi is the founder of a non-profit organization. She has in past years fed thousands of children living in low-income communities in different parts of the country. Our experience with persons living in marginalized areas gave her a clearer picture of what it means to live in a country that boasts of plenty but has a large population of its citizens struggling to survive.
When you see a child that is malnourished, you would know. Seeing them like that, some of them come to the event ground without slippers. Some of them come with torn clothes. You would even see their parents trying to also get things for themselves because there's really nothing at home. Things like that. When we go to schools and then you see children with no slippers, no shoe, socks is luxury now. They have no books. Calling on the government to really focus on these marginalized communities, these communities that people don't go to. Like we've been to Odetta, we've been to some other communities in Ibadan, and then a lot of people are saying nobody has been there before. Nobody really goes to all of those places, and I'm wondering what is our government doing.
Huda Yusuf, an economist, talked about the demographic structure of Nigeria, among other endowments, which makes it more of a blessing than a liability, but for long-standing issues ranging from an economy that has dysfunctional policies that were inherited by the present administration.
It is not for nothing that a lot of investors want to come here and set up or want to come here to sell one or two things. It's because of the size of the population.
Efforts made to reset the economy in the last 1 year is stated have further aggravated the level of poverty, with about 40.7% of Nigerians projected to live below the poverty line by the end of 2024. What then is the way out as Nigeria turns 64 amidst these concerns?
I'm hoping that the economic stabilization plan will bring some succor. But what I will also suggest is that no economic reform is perfect. And that is why, in the light of the consequences of the reforms, particularly the social cost of the reforms, there's a need to regularly fine-tune the reforms to ensure that the pressure on the citizens is not as much as it has been.
While some Nigerians have remained optimistic about the future of the country in spite of its many woes, while others have completely given up hope.
I think it's the issue of leadership. The resources are there. People are willing to farm. Come and see what is happening now in many states. The farmers are being threatened. If the government can help the farmers, things will change, I believe.
For Nigeria to come out of the current economic quagmire, experts believe that policies must be reviewed so that the impact of the ongoing reforms on the vulnerable can be minimized. Abimbola Agbibi, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, our next story appears to paint a more optimistic picture, and it's talking about Nigeria's remarkable economic achievements, which are considered to be a source of great pride. As of 2024, the country emerged as one of Africa's largest economies and ranks among the global top 20, driven by growth in sectors like agriculture, the creative industries, and the digital economy. Well, that's the message from the national president of NASIMA. NASIMA is National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, Delaware. The agency explains the challenges and successes highlighted by the commissioning of the Dangote refinery, which is a testament to the ingenuity of the Nigerian private sector. National President of NASIMA, Mr. Delaware, joins me live on the program this evening. Happy Independence Day to you, Mr. Oye. Thank you so much for joining us. It seems that there is a part of this economy that you understand better than most of the people we just spoke with in that report. Where are you getting these figures from? How come many of us are not feeling it?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. We are the operators of the economy. What I mean by that is NASIMA is the largest private business organization in Nigeria. We have 72 locations in Nigeria where we operate from. That is through our city and state chambers of commerce. So they are heavily involved, both at the national, subnational, so at the local government level. There's no other organization like NASIMA, Nigeria's Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria, with such reach, both at the grassroots and in all our major cities. So we feel the vibes from our people, and that is the basis on which we make the commendation to Mr. President and Nigeria. But if you compare what was predicted for Nigeria before this government came in, the impression is to transform Nigeria to the current travails in the Middle East, that Nigeria will have by now scattered, and that there will be no nation to call one. That is why we congratulate Mr. President first for encouraging the cohesiveness, most importantly, still being together as one good country.
Interesting way you have put it, but I'm also looking at some concerns that you've expressed recently, and it's about CBN's decision to hike the monetary policy to 27%. But if you listen to Mr. President today, he seemed to have highlighted what he called CBN's disciplined approach to monetary policy management, citing stability and predictability in the foreign exchange market. How do you reconcile your concerns with Mr. President's outlook, considering the potential impact on business and economic growth?
Well, first of all, I don't want to disagree with my president today, but as an operator, I will tell you that the CBN has not done very well with the private sector, because all the policies of the CBN have been targeted at the private sector. There's been no same discipline extended to the public sector. And I've had time to react to the CBN earlier that the way the private sector is almost being put out of the economy, all the various government agencies, they're all raising bonds. So most of the banks don't give us money anymore. They are more interested in giving the bonds because they are making over 20% on the bonds. So they've actually put the private sector out of business, at least in the market space. And the second other issue is the issue of the exchange rate. It has gone from bad to worse. So I don't see what hope we are getting from there. From a naira that is trading over $2,000 to a pound, or to about 1.7 now in the open market, to the US dollar. There's no way you can plan. Even couple with this, it seems as if the fiscal policy is not talking to the monetary policy. We don't have a 2024 fiscal policy. So in a nutshell, I completely disagree. We in the private sector will completely disagree with CPM policy as it affects business. That will not be business friendly, that will not be able to stabilize the naira. Most importantly, there is even no measure to know. The naira should not trade more than 1,000 naira per dollar. Should not. And most of my members in the manufacturing sector, they have goods that the manufacturers sell, they are not able to sell. But it's too expensive for the people. So the CBN has not, for our own assessment, has not been market friendly to the private sector. And I've suggested to the CBN governor the opportunity we have that you can deal with the public sector easily. Say the issue of, talking about the issue of, that is a political issue that they cannot be seen to be doing something. I say it's very easy. Get your banks, you regulate the banks. Give them a sectoral allocation. You shouldn't fund any public sector more than 20% of your loans portfolio. If you do that, nobody, if a UBA gives that kind of directive, nobody's going to accuse the CBN of controlling the subnational. So we have many ways of killing a rat, and I think the CBN should engage more with the risk stakeholders, not only the banks. The risk stakeholders are people who use their facilities, the loans, people that run businesses. When you get banks into a room, people will regulate. That is not a stakeholders.
Mr. Oye, do you see some silver lining in our dark clouds with the optimism that Dangote is sharing that we're probably going to mop up the 40% exchange rate that we usually spend on importing fuel? Is that something that you expect will make significant impact?
I can tell you as a private sector, the Dangote refinery stands a huge chance to change most of our challenges. The government has to give him more enabling environment. There's nowhere in the world the government does not support its own. If you look at what the Chinese are doing with their private company to their Asian bank, they give them all the support. And that is why we'll be writing to the NMPC and then UPROC to make sure they give everything Dangote needs. Because if Dangote is able to take off our energy needs locally, most of the people who buy foreign exchange to import are they have the highest demand for FX. So as you should, there's no reason with telling us that you prefer to, as part of your energy dependence, you must import, even though Dangote can meet the requirement. I've never heard of that anywhere in the world. If Dangote refinery were in Cotonou, we'll all be going there on pilgrimage to beg him. So we should not undermine him. Do everything we need. It will solve two problems for us. It will solve the problem of demand for FX. It will cure that, and that will give more money to the private sector, other sectors of the economy. So we need to see it from a very global perspective and find a way to encourage him, make sure that whatever is required for him to succeed. And I'm very happy when the government did the Naira to Naira arrangement to Dangote. We have not seen the full effect. And some people, some independent marketers, say they want to import. We should have a policy to protect our own. What are they importing for? How should they be competing with him? As far as we know, the price we are going to get from him is far below that, then we should encourage him. The Naira to Naira business.
Well, that Naira trade we expect to come into effect this month. Perhaps that is when we begin to see its full impact. But they say we're at a critical state in our nation's history and that everyone is a stakeholder, especially the private sector. How do you think the private sector can better contribute to promoting national unity and stability? Are there sacrifices that the sector also have to make?
We've always made the sector, we have only one country. The highest stakeholder in any government, in any country, is someone that has invested. You want peace, you want things to work so that you make money. Nobody can build in the midst of fire. So the biggest stakeholder is someone that has invested. And that is why we've always asked the government and the government agencies to do genuine stakeholders engagement before there are policy changes or before the policies are conceived. I have just come back from Michigan as part of the Hangout 2024, and you need to see how the government there encourages private business. The difference in Nigeria is that the government is in front of business, while the private sector follows. Whereas everywhere in the world, the government is behind you and gives you the law and the policies for you to succeed. It's only in Nigeria you see the government person who has no knowledge of how to run a refinery or try to repair one after taking 1.5 billion, trying to tell you we deploy 10 staff to Dangote to teach Dangote how to run his own. If you are failing an exam, I've never seen where a failed person is a class. So we should be careful.
All right.
One of our highest 8 wonders of the world is the Dangote refinery. And everyone is, when we were in the UN last year, the only question they wanted to hear from Nigeria is, how is Dangote going to work? Nobody believed it will work. Now it has worked. And that's complete EPC contract. What it means is all the engineering put to that country from scratch were done in the house here in Nigeria with Indian support. What that tells you is one of the 8 wonders of the world. And I have
Well, I guess we lost connection with Mr. Adeloye, who's national president of Nasima. The conversation is ongoing. Nigeria is 64. The expectation from government is top-notch. They are also promising that it does look like things are taking shape, especially the reforms, according to Mr. President, are beginning to show positive signs. We're looking forward to that, and hopefully we're going to see how that will impact on nation building and indeed the quality of life for Nigerians moving forward. Mr. Dele, that's our time on the show today. Thank you so much for your contribution. We're going to continue this conversation subsequently. That's our show today as well. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again on the news at 7.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
Good to win in the Cowbell So Creamy So Good promo with 150 million naira worth of cash and loads of free airtime up for grabs. To stand a chance to win, simply buy 10 sachets of Cowbell 12 gram or 1 Cowbell 320 gram refill pouch. Submit the empty packs to any collection center near you and exchange the sachets for a scratch card. Scratch the card to reveal a unique code and text the code to 1393 to enter the draw. Promo runs from October to November 2024. For more info, visit www.cowbell.ng. Terms and conditions apply. Cowbell, a creamy goodness.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. You're watching ShopX TV, home to some of the most popular international brands in Africa, including Gotham Hammered Collection, Genie Bra, Bionic Floodlight, Spot X, Total Crunch Evolution, and more. And we are now proud to introduce our biggest offer of the year, the ShopX Mid-Year Sales. Yes, from now until the end of September 2024, we will be offering our customers 20,000 naira off this home fitness machine. SportX Digital Compact Treadmill. The compact foldable treadmill that makes being active and losing weight fast and easy. Just unfold it and walk, jog, or run while you watch your favorite programs on TV. And when you're done, just fold it and store it away. Now that's convenience. The secret is its advanced design that houses a 1-horsepower motor that is twice the size of most treadmills, packed into a nice compact unit, powering every step you take. You get the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill System complete with a rugged commercial-grade ultra-durable traction belt, large LCD multifunctional display that displays speed, time, distance, calories, and has 12 different exercise programs, as well as a magnetic safety key for added security.
The SportX treadmill has really helped me get back in shape after childbirth. I love it because it's compact and can fit anywhere in the house. And when I'm done, I fold and put it away. Easy peasy.
This is the best piece of equipment for people like me who want to stay active without leaving the home.
Joining a gym can cost an absolute fortune, and you could be paying up to 490,000 naira in annual gym fees. Get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill to save the cost and work out of the convenience of your home. You would normally pay up to 400,000 naira for the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill. But call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill for just 380,000 naira, saving you 20,000 naira. Incredible! But that's not all. You can get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill in 2 easy payments of 190,000 naira. That's right! Pay twice to get this amazing fitness solution. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria. And it comes with a ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. But hurry, limited stock available. So call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen, following all nationwide big and impactful stories.